guys, I'm sure you all know me from Bio 101 and 102, but for those of you who don't, such as Professor Mullen, I'm Sam, and I'll be taking your class next year. Give me an A. I'm here to tell you everything I think I know about marine botany, which consists of, there is red algae, brown algae, and green algae. There's no blue, purple, or pink algae. Also, I know about harmful algae blooms, which when they're around, they poison little organisms, and when you eat those organisms, you can die.
Well, Sam, I hope that after watching my video, you can gain more knowledge about marine botany, and it will prepare you for next year's class.
Me too!
Macroalgae are large marine plants that are visible to the eye. Macroalgae could be found in the waters as well as on shore when they happen to break free from their holdfast and drift ashore. These algae are important because they are used by a vast variety of marine organisms as a food source, habitat, and shelter from predators. Some organisms that are beneficial from macroalgae are snails, mussels, and fish. Macroalgae are also important because they collect nutrients from the surrounding waters, which are then passed on to marine organisms and eventually to humans. When an overabundance of nutrients are present in the water, a rapid growth of the algae occur. When these macroalgae grow excessively, they can sometimes become harmful to the surrounding environment. This is known as a nuisance bloom. Blooms occur on almost every U.S. coastal state. These areas include the New England region, the Mid-Atlantic, the Gulf of Mexico, and the entire West Coast. At times, the entire region could be covered with algae. An example of a rapid algal growth is ulva, or commonly known as sea lettuce. These can double in biomass every 1.5 to 5 days and reach up to 12 feet long. Blooms tend to occur most frequently in temperate waters with high nutrient levels. Light intensity drives the growth of macroalgae. Different blooms can occur depending on what limiting nutrients are present in the water. For example, studies have been shown that in the same estuary, an abundance of macroalgae have been grown due to different limiting nutrients. In the Peel-Harvey estuary, ulva was found to be nitrogen limited, but cladophora was observed as phosphorus limited.
Sam, I always see you studying at your desk, and I have a question for you.
Well, Sam, what is your question?
What is the difference between a microalgae bloom and a macroalgae bloom?
Well, Sam, I have an answer for you.
These next two images are an example of a microalgae bloom. The main difference between microalgae and macroalgae blooms is that macroalgae blooms are not measured by the direct chemical-based toxin effects like that of the microblooms. Green algae are the most dominant type of algae in macroalgae blooms. This algal lineage happens to be the least likely to contain and release toxins.
In what has become an annual summer scourge, the coastal Chinese city of Qingdao has been hit by a near-record algae bloom that has left its popular beaches fouled with a green, stringy muck. The state oceanic administration said an area larger than Connecticut had been affected by the madove, sea lettuce, as it is known in Chinese, which is generally harmless to humans but chokes off marine life and invariably charles away tourists as it begins to rot. Some beachgoers appeared to be amused by the outbreak, at least according to the Chinese news media, which in recent days have featured images of swimmers lounging on bright green beds of algae, tossing it around with glee or piling it up of one another as if it were sand.
Macroalgae are considered harmful because of the dense overgrowth that can occur in areas. The overgrowth could potentially cover the bottom of an entire region. When macroalgae become highly concentrated, they shade one another and eventually block out the sunlight. The sunlight is needed for photosynthesis. When they can no longer carry out the process of photosynthesis, they consume oxygen rather than produce it. Eventually, due to the low levels of oxygen, decomposition occurs.